This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we're covering Ugly Americans. Suck my balls!
So I think that was the very first episode of this show I ever saw.
Well, the first episode has a man bird in it.
Yeah,
And he just says "suck my balls," but then later they have like a whole explanation about the man birds. But okay, hey Joel,
hey Andrew.
we are traveling to the world of adult animation,
Ooh,
but stopping right at like right before porn. You gotta be careful when you say adult animation. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because it's like anything when you say something like when it's adult, like an adult store, you think it's a sex store.
True.
But really, a grocery store is also an adult store.
Yeah, don't see many babies in there, buying their own food and stuff
Buying
like
groceries
that.
or getting milk. But it's like you say adult with anything, it's like, oh, this is an adult movie, and you're like,
No.
ooh, is there sauciness? And like, you bet your honey coated ass it is.
No, what you meant is the adult animated shows that are aired for syndication.
Yeah, exactly. No hints.
Yes.
We'll have to get pretty far down the list before we start covering obscure hentais.
Oh boy.
We'll call it the Hentai Heap Podcast.
God, no,
Oh, we'll be scarred for life.
Yeah.
We think we got dead eyes now. Imagine we got to watch hentai for a hobby.
like the real bad ones too.
Yeah, like the disturbing ones, not even the good ones. But this week we are covering the cartoon Ugly Americans, and usually we would review a theme song, but there's not much of a theme song to review.
We got like 10 seconds for you guys.
10 seconds. So let's review it anyway. We'll go ahead and play it. That's more the closing credits than
Yep,
it is
that's
the beginning. Yeah, because the beginning is just like it's like scary horns.
yeah, like that's it. It's very quick, just bam, over with. I thought the beat
ahead.
to that
Yeah.
gave me a Futurama vibes.
That's a really good comparison.
Yeah. Yeah.
This show, it starts out with our main character Mark Lilly. He does like a voiceover. It's kind of like what's that show with Fred Savage?
Ah,
The
crap.
Wonder Years.
Yeah. That's
This
what it's
show
called.
kind of is like the Wonder Years in that aspect. It's not like the Wonder Years in any other way,
Okay.
other than like the voiceover part at the beginning and end. Like
Yeah.
that's how they do it. But
Gotcha.
how did this get? Oh wait, no, we gotta give it this Know Nothing theme song a score, don't we?
Yeah.
So I guess I'd give it about a 5. I don't want to be too harsh on it because
Honestly, I was going to give it a 7. Like,
Yeah?
for everything that it's worth, I think the actual transition in the show with the theme song, I think those are pretty smooth. It's just very, quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't really interrupt the episode.
no.
The song isn't too bad. I could listen to that.
Yeah,
But
it's very lo-fi before lo-fi.
Exactly. I think a 7. It's worth it.
Yeah. I give it about a 5. I mean, there's not much to it, and really, it's not the theme song to like Ugly Americans.
Yeah.
Like when I think of a theme song, I think of you play that theme, you know what it is from the song. You're like, oh, that's the Street Sharks theme because they yell Street Sharks like 8 times or something like that. But with this, it's just like you're like, oh, who is this lo-fi artist? What are their pronouns? Are they good? And that's what I think of when I hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got you.
But let's get into how this show got made. This is one of the more unique shows that we're gonna cover. Not ever, I'm sure. But I do enjoy this show. I remember watching this show when it came out in 2010. Yep. I was of college age, so this was a really up my alley type show.
Oh yeah.
And you watched we would hang out and watch a couple of episodes.
Yeah, it was always a series I enjoyed. Was sad that it got canceled too early, but hey, that's the nature of the business.
Yeah, man.
But really, like you said, Andrew, 2010 is when this first aired, actually March 17th of 2010 on Comedy Central. This show is actually based off of a web series of short animated interviews with the, I guess, occult, strange monster kind of things that you see in this show. That was on the Comedy Central website titled 5 On with Alan Whiter. I don't know if you ever watched any of these or not, Andrew.
I didn't have a computer back then. I had to go to my apartment's computer lab.
Yeah. So
it was no, I'd never heard of 5 On with Alan Whiter.
Yeah, it was
pretty cool.
It was a web series that was actually, put onto the Comedy Central website back in 2007. It was directed, animated, and created by Devin Clark.
Okay.
And I actually thought it was pretty funny because he created this concept, and there's some writing credits to Nick Kroll, John Mulaney, and Pete Holmes on this series, which, I believe are pretty hysterical people.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah, so that little web series had a following. It actually gained a lot of traction. The actual web series won a couple of different awards that they was giving out to web series back in the day. Well, a former writer for The Simpsons, guy by the name of David Stern, actually developed a show idea based on this 5 On with Alan Whiter.
Yeah, this is 2010 Simpsons. They're still good. So, yeah, this guy's probably a talented writer.
So he basically, ran with this idea of just turning this ward that these interviews will happen. They actually use some of the interviews in the actual show. They might have just kind of like changed up the look of it a little bit, but basically just expanded in this world that this little web series had created.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but that's basically it. Just, someone got inspired by someone else's work and all came together, and it was just fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
pretty short and sweet history, but
it is.
It's still, pretty cool. A lot of not famous back then, but now these people that were involved in it, they're huge now. Like you said, John Mulaney and Nick Kroll.
Yep.
They got big mouth, and that's fucking one of the huge breadwinners on
Netflix,
on Netflix, and Pete Holmes. To you and me especially, I find Pete Holmes to be hilarious. He's probably one of the funniest comedians out there.
Yeah.
Right now, to me. So.
Yeah, it's pretty great, but at the same time, it's sadly, I think it just goes to show you that passion projects will never last out because they can't generate the money for it.
Yeah.
We didn't mention. I was about to say we didn't mention this thing only had 2 seasons, a total of 31 episodes. And if I'm not mistaken, that first season was only like 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's not long.
And then they picked it up.
They're both, I think it's, you got 26 episodes total. Yeah, 2 seasons, 31 episodes total. So probably like 15 for the first, 16 for the second.
I just looked it up. It's pretty close to that, but it's 14, 17. So,
they're right up top. The biggest reason that this show didn't get renewed for season 3, they didn't have the money.
No.
This show is really, it's stylized, animated. It's got a very unique look to it. A lot of people, reviewers and critics, equate it to EC Comics. Like the Vault of Horror stuff, and you can definitely see it, especially when we start, talking about the show a little bit more. That kind of you can tell that a lot of money went into this, and unfortunately, when in animation, when you do a really good job, but your niche, you tend to not get the funding you need.
Yep.
Kind of like us, but if it was like a good product.
Yeah. Something that should have gotten funding.
Yeah.
Yep. But so, like I said, some of those original creators of that web series, they did a lot of the voice acting themselves in that.
Right.
Are they a part of this show as well, as far as the voice actors?
Not for the main cast. Like they get some like voice actors. So the voice cast for Ugly Americans is Matt Oberg is Mark Lilly. Natasha Leggero is Callie Maggot-Bone. Kurt Metzger is Randall Skelfington. Randy Perlstein is Leonard Powers. Eric the Great Brian in Man-Bird. Julia Klausner is Angela. Kathy Lilith Maggot-Bone and Rosie. Michael Leon Woolley is Twain Bone Raper. Larry Murphy is Lieutenant Francis Grimes. Devin Clark is Croatian Man with some additional voices. And Pete Holmes is Eric the Robot.
Okay.
And for their other works, now that I know, I went back and watched these, this show I do every week. And I was like, man, these voices sound so familiar with a lot of stuff. And after I looked up their other works, I'm like, oh, this is all the dots started connecting. So for their other works, we have Matt Oberg is Kite Man from the Harley Quinn show. Natasha Leggero she's not in a lot of stuff that I watched, but she was Misty in Community.
Okay.
Kurt Metzger is the Flavor Flav impersonator in Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Randy Perlstein is the gay KKK member in that one skit from the Chappelle Show.
Oh, yes.
Julia Klausner is Cherry Maraschino in Big Mouth.
Okay.
Michael Leon Woolley is Darkseid in Young Justice.
All right.
Larry Murphy it's Teddy and Bob's Burgers. And now, like, after listening to Lieutenant Grimes, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely have it.
Yep.
Devin Clark is he didn't do a lot of things other than Croatian Man. He just did the visual effects for a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Such as Inside Amy Schumer and Ugly Americans themselves. And finally, Pete Holmes has a really awesome show that got canceled also too soon called Crashing.
Yep.
So, the best way for me to describe this show to everyone at home or their car or their job or wherever is think about Zootopia, but with monsters and demons and way, 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 way hornier.
Yes.
And you know, if you look at Zootopia and its fan base, you got to be pretty horny to out horny them.
Sadly, yes.
But like the world, when you watch the show, the world is surprisingly, for a comedy, really thought out. Like there are businesses based off of the various creatures, like zombies. They go and they go to markets where they can buy like body parts, like fresh body parts for themselves. The demons, like you can go to, there are great visual gags in this show. Like Mark goes to have dinner with Kelly's father and her mom and dad, and they go to hell because you can just casually go to hell in this show. And they have, I think it's called Barnes and Nefarious instead of Barnes and Noble. And, you know, like anything that you think of, like, they're like, well, if there was like a business, like if there was like a creature there, wouldn't you need to have that? And it's like they have that. So it's like if you want to be a vampire, you have to submit it legally. Like there's an episode where they completely and totally make fun of Twilight, and Larry King at the same time. And like this guy tries to bite a girl on the neck, and he gets beat up and arrested by Lieutenant Grimes because it was an illegal vampire transformation. So, like, it's an impressive amount of thought that goes into this world that they build. And also, it's pretty damn funny. There are a couple of jokes that, like, a lot of people would... so, like, you know how you go back and watch Friends and they use, like, the R word and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple of jokes like that on there, but it was 2010. We didn't know, or we did know and we didn't care. Either way, it's out. You just kind of have to accept it if you're going to watch some old stuff, that you're going to hear some jokes that probably aren't going to land quite as softly as they used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
product of its time.
Out of all the episodes, I do have a favorite.
Okay.
It's definitely the Man Birds.
Oh, yeah.
Man Birds is the best episode.
It's the best one.
There's these man birds, and they only communicate
my balls.
They just go, suck my balls. And they were brought back to Manhattan by a cab driver who thought they were hilarious as balls.
Yeah.
And there's a whole big plot about getting them to the city to have like man-bird cockfighting, and Grimes has to dress up as a man-bird
and fight in it
and fight for them because he and they fight. So man-birds have this appendage that looked like their dick, but it's actually like to cover up their actually very soft and fragile genitals, and that's what they fight with. But Grimes has to fight with his actual penis. And like, just, it's the best one. I watched almost all of them today, I don't think season 2 is as strong as season 1. I personally think I think a lot of this show's like more powerful like jokes and plot lines are definitely in season 1.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of horror, this is definitely a show for you. It's styled really well. You get tons of horror movie references.
Yeah.
They reference King Kong. They reference Night of the Living Dead. They reference Rosemary's Baby, like Kelly Maggot Bone or Maggot Throne or whatever their weird demon last names is. Her mom is drawn to look like Rosemary from Rosemary's Baby. So
that's cool.
It's really just a really well done show. It's like, and Mark is like this bleeding heart, like good dude who just wants to like do right by the system. Yeah, because the best way to do this show is Mark, he works for the Department of Immigration. So all these various creatures are immigrating from different parts of the world, but they also scatter in like real immigrants. So there's like a Jamaican lady who doesn't like robots.
Yeah.
And dude's like, back at the island, we used to call you all talking toilets. Of course, there's a Croatian man, and it's clever. It's a really clever show. And it's like, this episode's kind of like a vanity, like we're doing this for us.
Yeah. Kind
of thing. Because it's like, we both really love this show. And I did enjoy going back.
Yeah, it's, it's, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's not that old, only 12 years now.
It's it's only like a 12-year-old show for sure.
So I mean, I think you can still appreciate most of the humor in it.
No, it's not as bad as like a 70s show or something.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts on the show? Did you watch any episodes this week?
Yeah, I watched more clips of it.
Okay.
Definitely a show I remember pretty fondly, especially just watching it with you.
Yeah. Aww.
It's just a good show. I think if, you're someone that appreciates this adult animation humor, then you'll like this show.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just kind of, from a narrative standpoint, I appreciate it from like, this is a really well written show.
Yes.
Like, there's, and they're really funny. Like, the episode where Randall loses his dick because he's a zombie.
Yeah.
And the whole reason Randall turned himself into a zombie is so he could get with this chick. And then when he finally goes zombie and sees her again, she's like, "Oh, I'm actually into warlocks now." And he's like, "Crap." But yeah, I guess it's time to go to your new reoccurring segment, Joel. Reviews that got saved by the system and reviews that burned in hell.
So this is a 1 out of 10, Andrew.
Oh man, right out the gate. Yeah. I kind of had a feeling some people, this wouldn't mesh with a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
probably why it got canceled.
Yeah. Titled Don't Bother. Awful. Far from funny and a complete waste of time. I have yet to laugh, let alone smile. Terrible show. Nothing in it is humorous. It comes across as being crude and offensive for the sake of it. Don't get me wrong, I have a decent sense of humor and watch all sorts, but this is just unbearable tripe filled with bland dialogue, annoying characters, and it's just simply awful. I honestly don't get why it is being praised. To each their own, I suppose.
He doesn't sound like he's real fun at parties. Just saying.
Hey, you know who's really great at parties? Steve. Let me read you some of his show reviews. Man.
This is that's great, Steve. He seems like the guy who's like, you know, I'm a real fun guy, but come on. I'm like, I don't think you're that fun, Steve. Honestly,
he would be that guy that would just be like that constant downer. It's like you'll see people trying to get away from him, but he just keeps sucking them back into like the conversation.
Just one Bud Light too many in him too, and he gets all sad.
That's it.
Get help, Steve. How about that?
So this is a 10 out of 10 titled Still Holds the Test of Time. I remember this show. I remember when this show came out while I was in Elf High School. I thought it was hilarious back then, and I think it's even funnier now, as I have experienced a lot more of the world and society since then. The simplistic nature of this show is what really makes it great. Simplicity mixed with a fantasy world of all sorts of creatures seem hard to make, but I think they pulled it off. It's creative and fun and nostalgic. I recommend it to anyone who likes dark humor and cartoons.
I also think that you can appreciate the show if you've ever lived in New York. Yeah. I myself have never even been to New York, so I can't say that for a fact. But I feel like a lot of it, I think a lot of the jokes that didn't land for me were like local, like jokes about like New York and living in the city. And I was like, well, gosh, I don't understand the big city life. So
the big old city life is sure confusing.
Well, gosh darn shook 'em up. How do you breathe when there's no trees out here? By the way, any Southerner can do that at any time, and don't ever let them lie to you. If you're from the North and you have a friend from the South, they can do that voice at any time.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. That's our hidden talent. That's how we get away with stuff from Northerners. Well, they're like, what are you, some kind of stupid movie? And they're like, well, gosh darn, Mr. Fancy Pants businessman, I guess I just don't know much about that big city living.
You talking
and then they feel bad.
You talking about
like,
that?
Oh, don't worry about it. Let me buy you a pizza.
You talking about that makes me think about this prank my dad pulled on one of our friends. We went up to Pennsylvania together, and my dad calls this guy at 5 a.m. on his like hotel phone and pretends to be like a Northerner on the like front desk and be like, you guys ain't gonna want any of those grits things, are you? And just like had them just like so pissed off. Like, who is this person calling?
Craziest culture shock I ever got was a guy from the North. He grew up the whole life. He grew up north, and he's like, so biscuits and gravy. I'm like, yeah. They're like, that's a meal to you? I'm like, yes. He goes, is it multiple biscuits? I'm like, it's one biscuit split in half, covered in sausage gravy. He goes, that don't seem like enough. I'm like, you're not eating the right biscuits then, my friend. A true Southern biscuit is like enormous. It's like, you know, Pillsbury has really diminished what a biscuit is.
Yeah.
They're like this. The biscuits are huge, lumpy things of dough that you just, wonderful things. You cover them with gravy, and that's your meal.
Yeah.
And then you drink a cup of Joe, and you have possibly the worst shit of the day.
But you feel good
afterwards.
afterwards.
Well, you do feel good.
Yep.
You do. But any closing thoughts on Ugly Americans, Joel?
Check it out. The last review, I think they said it pretty good. If you like dark humor and cartoons, give it a shot. You?
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. So if you got that, you can already watch it. I know Amazon Prime has a deal where you can like merge Paramount Plus, or you can find them other ways.
Mm-hmm.
You can find them if they fell off a truck. Oh, the New York way of watching movies. I think. I don't know.
Suck
But yeah,
my balls.
it's definitely worth checking out. If you're into horror, if you're into dark humor, and if you're into something that's, pretty cool to look at, very stylized, I would definitely recommend this show.
Oh, yeah.
But that wraps up Ugly Americans. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have one tier. It gets you all of our stickers and also gets you a part of our Discord channel. We're trying to figure out more things to do with the Discord channel. So if you have any suggestions, let me know.
Yep.
Because right now it's just talking to us, and that's not always too interesting. If you'd like to request a cartoon for us to cover, you can go to our website, cartoondumpsterdive.com. We have a Twitter handle CartoonDD. We have an Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all Cartoon Dumpster Dive. If you'd like to send us just a regular email, you can send that to cartoondumpsterdive@gmail.com. And as always, we appreciate a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice. We don't have to have funding to do this show, but I feel like a 5-star review, enough of them would get us a Hello Fresh advertisement, and we'd make $5 whole dollars.
There we go.
Have a great rest of your week.
See ya.
Suck my balls.
Suck my balls.
This has been a Lug Hole Podcast.